Welcome to the Balanced Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Sherman, fitness coach for burnt out perfectionist. If you're ready to break free from overwhelm, simplify your nutrition, and make fitness finally work for you instead of against you, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into easy strategies to balance your health with your busy life. Let's hustle for balance, not burnout. Grab a seat and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Today's podcast topic seems very, very fitting as I'm sitting in my office. My dog is snoozing in the chair next to me. But what I am hearing outside is my neighbor mowing his lawn. Again. My neighbor and some of my friends laugh at me about this, my friends and family. I'm like, I just can't keep up with him. I cannot keep up with a neighbor who mows the lawn 2 or 3 times a week. Like, he literally mows it 2 or 3 times between when we mow our lawn. And we mow our lawn like once a week, right? And our lawn, I think, looks good until he mows his lawn. And then in comparison, it's like, well, we should probably mow our lawn again, even though it's already so short. But the reason I'm rambling on about this is because today's podcast episode is all about keeping up with your fitness during the summer, because summer is busy and fitness in the summer is not like fitness in the winter, especially when you have a neighbor who you have to keep up with mowing your lawn 3 times a week, which I will not do. I will not do that. But it does feel like I have a lot more to keep up with in the summer than I do in the winter. And it's true. I mean, there's yard work to do in addition to the work that already has to be done, keeping up with the house, keeping up with work. There's more events to go to, more parties, graduation parties, weddings, things like that. And it is harder to keep up with your fitness during the summer. And especially if you are one of my fellow ag girls that work on a farm. There's a lot more going on the farm in the summer too than there is in the winter. In the winter, a lot of time we're just maintaining. We're just, doing the basics, going home, kind of cuddling up by the fire and relaxing. And the summer is like go. If you are struggling to keep up with your fitness during the summer, first of all, I want to let you know you are not alone. It is also normal. And if you feel like there's a lot more going on and it's harder to keep up, it's because there is. So I don't want you beating yourself up about it. There are things that we can do, some things we're going to talk about today that are hopefully going to help you feel better about your summer routine, keep up with your fitness, not fall completely off track, but create a system that works for you even during these busy seasons, right? So if you're like me and you're a perfectionist and like type A, you're very like all or nothing, right? I have to be doing all the things all the time or I'm failing. And I've had that mindset for so long that I've had to fight, and that can be very hard, right? And in the summer, it's like, well, maybe I only fit in, 2 or 3 workouts this week when normally I'm used to fitting in 5 or 6, right? That can feel difficult. But we have to understand that our fitness changes with the seasons, just like our everyday life does, right? So I think I've talked before in another episode about how like even your nutrition and your fitness goals change with the seasons, right? Sometimes you're maintaining, sometimes you're cutting and you're trying to cut fat, sometimes you're in a phase where you're building muscle, right? And just like our fitness goals change with the systems, or the seasons, not the systems, our systems and routines also change with the seasons. So you don't have to necessarily be trying to achieve a certain goal during the summer. You can be maintaining, or even if you are trying to build muscle, cut fat, we can still do that, but give you a routine that makes it easier and less on your brain and less on, no more beating yourself up, right? So first thing we've got to do is we've got to be honest with ourselves. We've got to look at our schedules and be realistic. Does our schedule allow us to have the same type of fitness routine that it did in the winter? Maybe it can, but maybe that's going to be an extra stressor. Maybe it means that we can't enjoy time with family as much as we want to this summer. If you live somewhere like me in New York where it's cold for the majority of the year, these summer months we have to embrace. Like, we get 3 or 4 months of warmth and then it's cold again, right? So we don't really want to spend all summer missing out on those fun summer things, but we don't want to totally neglect our fitness either, right? Because for me, the second I start to neglect my fitness, my mindset automatically goes down the drain, right? So I have to keep up with my fitness and my routines, but I just adjust my routines to be a little different. So for you, you have to look at your own personal routine, right, and your schedule. Does that mean that maybe we're going to cut down on a few, 1 or 2 workouts per week, right? Instead of doing 5 or 6, are we going to go to 3 or 4? I try to keep, at least 3 workouts. I think that's a really good baseline. Gives you some room to space it out throughout the week. We can do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type deal, right? And we can take down the frequency of those workouts and keep the length, right? So you might still have, maybe you're doing 45-minute to an hour workouts, but just less frequently throughout the week. And you can absolutely still get the results that you're looking for by cutting down the frequency, right? Another thing we can do, if you're someone who needs to work out every day, needs to work out 5 or 6 days a week to keep that routine, we can just cut down the time, right? So if we're doing workouts that are 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe we're cutting it down to 30 to 45 minutes, right? Still getting in a good workout. Maybe we have to adjust what that workout looks like. Maybe we have to adjust the sets, the reps, the weight, and that's something that a coach like myself could very well help you out with. Maybe we have to adjust those things, but we put it in a shorter time frame so that you have more time to get other things done. It doesn't feel like, I have to pull myself away from the beautiful day outside to go be in the gym for an hour, hour and a half, right? We can just say, hey, I've got to do 30 minutes today. It's going to be quick. We're going to work hard, and then we're going to get back outside, back to, enjoying the beautiful weather, things like that. Those are 2 methods that we can try to adjust your routine and make sure that you're still keeping up with your workouts, but make it more manageable and doable for you throughout these warm seasons. Other things that we can do to optimize our workouts but still enjoy the beautiful weather are things like taking our walks, from treadmill walks to outside walks with the dogs, right? Taking our spin rides on our spin bike inside to bike rides outside, right? Just transitioning things that we're already doing into, more seasonally fun and exciting things that we can actually do while the weather's nice, right? So in addition to workouts getting a little harder to fit in the summer, the other thing that gets harder is nutrition, of course, right? Everything gets harder when we get busier. And a couple things with nutrition that get more difficult is eating the right things, right? So there's more parties, like I said, there's more potato chips and just that good summer food that you just want to enjoy, right? All the treats you want to enjoy. Maybe you're going camping and you're having some s'mores, right? We want to enjoy that stuff during the summer, and we're not going to deprive ourselves of those things. But how do we still keep up with our nutrition and stay on track while these things are happening, right? So my first bit of advice with that is number 1, not even food, water. Keep hydrated. I want you to keep on track of your hydration, especially during the warm months. This contributes so much to your recovery from your workouts, just your basic energy throughout the day. I know if I don't hit my water, by 2 p.m., I can feel the difference in even just my energy, right? And then also water naturally helps us stay away from snacks and cravings and things like that, binging foods. We feel more full, more fulfilled. That's going to help keep you on track. Another thing that we can do nutrition-wise is look at a little bit more front loading. So if you know that you are going to like a summer barbecue in the afternoon and there's not going to be maybe a lot of healthy foods there, actually a lot of the time there are a lot of fruits, things like that. But if we know that we need to get some more veggies in the morning, some more protein in, we can front load those things. So having like a protein heavier breakfast or lunch or some snacks before you go out with friends. Maybe you're going to a restaurant with friends and you know you're going to have some more carbs. That's cool. That's awesome. Don't restrict yourself during the day, but maybe you have a little bit more veggies, a little bit more protein before you go, and then you save some carbs for later on in the day. It's not really about restricting you from eating anything that you want to, but just finding ways to balance those things so that at the end of the day, we have a well-rounded diet. And then the third thing that I want you to focus on this summer as life gets busier are your anchor habits. So these are your basic daily habits that you have probably got into a really good routine with, over the fall, over the winter, the spring, that keep you feeling good, right? So I want you to think about what these might be for you. Whether it is a morning routine that gets your day off to the right start, maybe you're spending some time in the morning journaling or just not rushing out the door before you have to go to work, 5 minutes before you have to go to work, skipping breakfast, those foundational habits. Breakfast is another one of them. Eating lunch is another one of them. Snacks. If you need to, put into your phone when your lunchtime is, when your snack time is. Keep in touch with those foundational habits, those anchor habits that keep you feeling good so that you still maintain some type of routine throughout the summer. I'm someone who needs a routine, and sometimes it feels really good to go off routine and just do whatever. But if I do that for too long, I always return to needing a routine, right? And as an adult, it gets easy to just be like, well, I can do whatever I want. My mom's not telling me to get ready for bed at this time, right? But then the more that I, live my life as an adult and on my own in my own house, the more I realize yeah, those routines were there for a reason. I feel better when I have them, right? So, even bedtime in the summer, we tend to go to bed later. Well, you have to decide what is that routine for you that you're going to keep in place. Maybe you're going to allow yourself to go to bed a little bit later, but we're going to keep up with our nighttime routine, right? We're going to wash our face before bed. We're going to bed a little bit later, but we're still going to make sure that we get X amount of hours of sleep. Maybe we're going to sleep in a little bit more in the mornings. It really depends on your schedule and what works for you. Maybe you're going to take a nap during the day. It all depends on what your life looks like and what those things are that keep you feeling really good. We want to maintain those habits, those systems, again, those routines, no matter what. Even if you're just maintaining, if you are trying to build muscle, lose some fat, whatever your goals are this summer, those anchor routines should be the foundation of every single thing that you're trying to achieve, right? And maybe they get a little bit more, in depth and a little bit more amped up during certain times of the year. And maybe there's just like that bare minimum during the summer where it's like, I just need to do this to feel good. I need to stick to my routines, my morning routine, my night routine. I need to hit, 3 workouts a week. That is my bare minimum. I need to hit this many steps a day. This is my bare minimum. I'm not pushing myself right now, but I need to do these things to maintain my normal, right? My new normal. And that normal can change throughout the seasons. It is not my normal every season to be mowing my lawn every single week. Sometimes twice a week, not 3 times like my neighbor, but it is just not my normal during December to be doing that, right? So we have to adjust for the seasons. We cannot have one process that we stick with the entire year, our entire lives, right? We have to adjust, but we still have to maintain taking care of our physical health, our emotional health, our mental well-being. We have to maintain that. And I hope that this episode has given you a little bit more feeling of control on what you can do this summer so that it's not so overwhelming, when there's more things going on. This has been a little bit shorter of an episode, and honestly, that reflects me right now. Like, I have yard work I'm looking out the window that I want to go be doing, right? But it is important to me to get a podcast out this week, and maybe my podcasts are a little shorter during the summer. Maybe we're doing every other week instead of every week, right? I have things that are my baseline I need to maintain. I need to maintain my relationships in my work with my current clients, right? Their programming, their nutrition protocols, their questions that they have for me. I need to maintain other things in my business that just are priority one. I need to maintain my physical and mental health. That's another priority. And then there's some things, like the podcast, like some other creative endeavors that, maybe my baseline changes a little bit, right? And that's okay. So that's just a pure example of me living that this summer, what that looks like. I still want to get podcasts out to you, so they might just look a little bit different. They may be a little shorter some weeks. That is okay. And me telling myself, letting myself know that that is okay, because my other priorities are getting done, and I'm also getting to enjoy the beautiful weather that we're having because, like I said, here in New York, I am freezing and wearing hoodies and sweatshirts throughout most of the year, right? That's one of my other priorities, is to enjoy the beautiful weather while we have it. So I thank you for listening to this one, and I hope that it helped, and I will see you again very soon in the next one. All right, bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Balanced Hustle podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Be sure to leave a review or share with someone who needs a little extra balance in their hustle. For more tips, tools, and resources to help you reclaim your energy and build the strong, vibrant life you deserve, follow me on Instagram at LindsaySherman_fitness, and don't forget to subscribe here so you don't miss a single episode. Until next time, remember, progress is always better than perfection. Keep taking those small steps. They'll tell you exactly where you need to go. Talk soon.